Hi, I'm Chris Urquhart, publisher of Natural Awakenings magazine, and I'm here today with Reverend Janice Cary of Unity of Fort Pierce. In addition to being a Reverend, Janice is also a life and spiritual coach, and she's helps people with tools for meaningful living. So thank you so much for joining us today, Reverend Janice. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You and I spoke a little bit about how even in the midst of a pandemic and staying home, we feel like we're busier than ever. So can you share some of the ways that Unity of Fort Pierce is adapting to life at home and managing to stay connected?
Well, one of the things I can share truly is that nothing's the same. Absolutely nothing is the same. I used to be at the church just about every single day. And so now my secretary and I are on FaceTime, and I'll go in for a very short time once she's done. But the thing is to allow myself to be okay that everything's different. That I have to let go of having it like it was, because it's not. So what can I do to live in this time, at this time, and actually enjoy life a little bit at this time, because there's a tremendous amount to be grateful for. And how can we help ourselves, our congregation, my clients, my friends, my family, to live fully in this situation? And that, thank God, is social media. Who knew that we would be so uh, tied to social media and need it so much? What a blessing this is.
Well, and the way that you and I are talking now as well, being able to stay
Exactly.
connected face to face,
Right.
tools we didn't have.
The first time when one of the things we're doing at our church is we're putting classes on. On Wednesdays at 11, I've always done a meditation. Unity's, probably most Unity churches in the area around the world have a meditation at 11. It's just a Unity thing. And so we had a big group, and so now they're joining us on Zoom. Now, the first time they all joined on Zoom, it was like, oh, hi, it's good to see you. Oh my God, how are you? I mean, we weren't that crazy when we were together. I mean, yes, we saw each other and we loved seeing each other, but this was like, oh my God, we're seeing you. And so it's just that connection is truly there. And so when we get to see each other, it's so precious to see that they're okay as we're moving through this together.
And I'm
And so we
really
do our
looking
meditation
forward.
that way. But part of the meditation is now also a real check-in to see how people are.
Right.
Because now more than ever, we need to hear them. We need to hear the frustration and hear the fear, because all of it is an expression of, oh, we love life and we want to be back to that. And yet we have to learn to sit with that and let this move away.
Well, and you're a counselor in both of the roles that you serve, as Reverend for your church and then also as a spiritual and life coach. So, you just said that you are hearing that people are concerned and have a little bit of fear about where we are. What kind of tools or tips do you share with them and your friends and family to help us?
Well, I think the very first thing to do is to give ourselves, all of us, some compassion for this. Because of course we're in fear. How could we not be? This is so different. So to think that we're not supposed to have that feeling, that's the mistake. There'd be something wrong with us if we didn't have this concern. So to give ourselves the comfort and compassion that all of us need when we feel this, and to breathe into it, to recognize it, and then to shift our focus on what can we do even in the midst of that challenge. What a week this is. I mean, this is Holy Week. And I don't always bring this in with my clients, but Holy Week is where our way shower Jesus showed us how to sit with challenges, big challenges, and walk through them, because we have to walk through them. It's how shall we be as we walk through these challenges, and they will change. They will move. They absolutely will move. But what can we do to walk through it? And the first technique is to give yourself compassion. The second I would recommend is to take your attention inward and place it right into your heart space and breathe into your heart. Or breathe into your hands. Take your attention into your feet. In other words, take your attention and your awareness into your own being and breathe. And just take some breaths. And that brings us out from the stories that our beautiful brain keeps creating and into, we're safe right here, right now. You and I are talking.
Yeah.
Are we not safe right here, right now? And all is well.
Right.
And this is all we have any kind of minor control over, is this moment. So how are we enjoying this moment?
Right. Living in the moment.
Living in this moment.
Really learning to live in the moment right now.
And one of the things I've done is I've learned to creatively cook some really neat things that I never said I had the time for before, you know? So I'm cooking very healthy. I'm taking my Chloe, my little dog, for walks a lot more. I'm also eating more, so I have to walk more. That's the downside of it. But just really enjoying the relationships that I have in my life. My congregation that I am in contact with every day. I have a wonderful husband, my little dog. So it's interesting. One person came to me, and some people have challenges with their relationship because they're too together, too close. And you know what? That's understandable too. We need to have some space, even in a relationship that's a great relationship. My husband's out on the lanai right now with the dog. So we give ourselves space, even though we're together 24/7. We have to have our own space.
Yes.
And
we're
that
all
would be
experiencing a different way of moving through life together. You know, in my household, I've always worked from home. My husband is now walking in my shoes, you know, a little bit, learning how to walk, learning how to be at home all the time.
Yes.
Whereas I'm doing a little differently because of these tools, you know, I'm being out more. So it's interesting how everyone is having different experiences, but we're all shifting and changing, and we're all taking a bit of a time out, you know.
Right. And I think it's really interesting to have the idea that all of God, all of spirit is all of that. Your experience that you're having, the experience your husband is having, what my husband's having, what I'm having, is all part of the isness that God is. It's all part of spirit having experiences. And when we come in with the idea that it ought to look a different way, that's when the ripples start. That's when the problems can come, especially if I start looking for a honey-do list for him, or vice versa. You have to stop yourself from that sometimes as well. But that's our humanness coming out. So we say, that's okay, that's okay.
So we had a little technical difficulty right as we were talking about pausing and taking a breath and having a timeout, and we got a little timeout. So we're going to pick right back up where we left off, which was taking a breath and a little bit of a timeout.
One of the things I love to share with people is that our brain is kind of like it's an organ. We think we know we have eyes. Yes, we know we have eyes. We don't confuse ourselves with our eyes. We have eyes. But our brain, we keep thinking, just because we're thinking something, it must be true. When the truth is, the brain is just thinking, and it's an organ. So if you ever walk your dog, I know you have a cat, but I have a dog. And if I go out for a walk with my dog can pull me this way, that way, or the other way. She can go all over. Where if you see a trained dog, a service animal, they stop and they take their cues from their master. The master stops, the dog stops. I mean, it's fantastic, especially when you see like a big dog, well trained. Where my dog's not quite so well trained. Well, your brain is like that dog. The brain is looking to you, the I am, the consciousness, for its cue. And so we're back here, we're up here watching this. And we have to give ourselves some compassion as we do as a training a dog so that we can use the brain rather than the brain running away from us. And the perfect story of this right now is Jesus riding a donkey and a colt into Jerusalem. Metaphysically understood, Jerusalem is that center of peace. It's not a place, it's a peaceful center. So he's riding on this donkey, this colt, and that is our animal body with all of its irritation and all of its, it can be wonderful, but it can also kick up a fuss. And so he's riding that, mounting it. And as we sit with our discomfort and mount it, what happens is it is no longer I, but it is the Christ that is living this life. And I'm living it from a place, a sense of peace. Nothing changes in the world. My reaction turns to a response. And that's why, if you look at all these wonderful nurses and doctors on the front line, they're not thinking too much. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're thinking, they're trained, they are trained, but they are there and responding, and they're mounting. I'm sure they have, concerns and fears, but they're mounting it and doing it anyway, out of love. That's how we want to walk in the world, from that sense of being a contribution, being willing to be here, because that's we really have no choice.
Yeah.
How will we experience it? That's what this is about. The coaching is about that, to see it a little differently.
I really like that analogy, both the dog and the healthcare workers, but just the idea of the brain yanking you all over, but yet you can train it.
Because the brain
to move through life.
True.
Yeah.
The brain is an organ, just like our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we train it to focus where we want it to go. That's not saying things aren't challenging, because they are.
And I imagine one of the more effective training tools for your brain is the meditation that you guys offer, doing a daily meditation.
Absolutely, because what it does is, as we go into meditation, a few breaths, you're checking in with what is happening within us. What is coming up for me? And as we notice it, then it doesn't run away with us, because we then embrace it and it transforms. It's really funny. At the beginning of the year, I did a vision board. I love to do vision boards. We had a class of doing vision boards. And I had this one on my vision board. I had this beautiful oak tree, because it's my intention this year it was my intention. I thought, I really want to grow, not by going here, going there, doing this, doing that, but grow from where I'm planted. Mm-hmm. Didn't know this was going to happen. this so planted. But how can I grow being planted from here, and still reach people, but be centered and grounded in the spiritual practices?
You reminded me, one of my thoughts at the beginning of this year was I wanted to be more connected and to individually connect with more people. And here we are doing exactly that. I did not expect it to come in this form or fashion, but
we never know how it's going to come. We never know. But therein lies what conclusion are we holding? And therein lies the how we experience any situation. And that's what I'd love to share with the listeners, is what's called it's called the gratitude protocol, how to disrupt anxiety.
I like it. We all have a lot of underlying anxiety at the moment. So
Yes.
anything that can help tamp that down.
So would you like me to pull this up?
Oh,
Or
yes, yes, please do. Go
see
ahead,
how do I?
share your screen and take us through it.
So I have to, you might have to help me with this. I go back to a different view because I'm not sure where it is. Now,
So you should see the share screen at the bottom.
oh, share screen, that's right. Well, we are learning.
Yes, we are. We'll do it
There
together.
we are. Here we are. Here we are. Here we come up. I'm going to share this. So you can see this now?
Yes, I can.
All right. So a lot of people will come to me with a lot of anxiety about all sorts of different things. So how can we breathe through this and see it in a different way? And one of the things I invite people to notice is, I'll move down one. What conclusion are we holding in mind? That's the first box. If the conclusion is, oh, this is terrible, I can't do it, this is, we get into the awfulizing, our mind goes out following that arrow and it will find evidence for it. And this is how we show up, kind of very anxious, having much challenges, and the results that we produce in that form of anxiety is not really the best. And this is a cycle. Would you agree that we've all had this kind of experience? Absolutely. And this, I just want to give credit to my Academy for Coaching Excellence, Dr. Maria Namath. These are her tools that she shares with the coaches, such as myself, who've taken her program. And so what conclusion are we holding about this situation even? Is it, can we find some really good things about it that's happening in our life right now? Mm-hmm. Okay, and I just lost you.
Nope.
My screen went blank.
Screen went blank, but I can still see you.
All right. Oh, there we go. So here's how we change the conclusion, because it's what we're holding in mind that is creating what we're looking for to prove it, how we show up in the world, and the results we produce. So if we're nervous, we're finding a lot of nervous people, we're behaving nervously, and the results we produce are a little scattered, yes?
Yes.
If we have a conclusion that I can do this, I can move through this, I can find evidence of ways that I have been able to accomplish. I did my very first service online this past Sunday. I was able to do it. I showed up and did it, and the results I produced were pretty decent. So it's again, we're back to conclusions. So I want to show the next screen. I asked you to just name one thing you're anxious about, Chris. Just name.
Oh, personally?
Yeah, one thing.
My kids staying safe. They're
your kids.
My grown children staying safe right now.
Okay.
One of them's in a big city that's a hot spot, and he has to be himself.
Sure. And so you have this anxiety, and it's absolutely understandable. Likewise, my concern is around my grandchildren and children and where they are and the types of jobs they do. I can be very anxious about it. And so let's just take a moment to think about that and how anxious that is. Really, I want you to think about it. Get into that fear for a moment. Just feel it in you for a moment. And now switch to, Chris, what are you really grateful for also? What are you grateful for?
So in relationship to my anxiety, is that how the idea?
In relationship to, it could be your children, but what is something you're grateful for? What are you grateful for right now?
Well, I'm grateful for this conversation. I'm grateful for all the connections. I'm grateful that my children are smart and self-assured and know how to stay safe and take care of themselves.
Let's stay with that one for a moment. Just really focus in on your children, how intelligent they are and smart, and that you know that they're of the same spirit. They have within them the same intelligence, the same wisdom, the same ability to take care of themselves, because they are made of the same source. And so what is the energy like for you at this moment with that? awareness.
Oh, calm,
Yeah.
peaceful, loving.
Yes. And so it goes back to, what conclusion are you holding?
Right.
So anxiety is going to come in, but anxiety is not the evil thing. Anxiety is just a sense of, it's a what's the word? It's showing us that we love. You wouldn't be anxious if you didn't love them.
Right.
You wouldn't, you wouldn't even, it's not anything to do. So your love is being touched. So we have to remember that what you're anxious about, the children are made of the same source and intelligence as you. After all, they came from us.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
they're pretty wise, and they really do have it within them to take care of themselves, and even better than us sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not about the problem. It's about, how do we see it? Which brings me to the green lens. Each person is a hero in their own right. They're whole, they're complete. Every person has their own goals and dreams and desires to make a difference. They have their own answers. It's not up to me to tell them. And they are contributing to me right now, because they're letting me know whether I'm in my place of peace, my Jerusalem, or am I out here in my head finding everything wrong. And that person, whoever that person is, they also deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So therein lies the way we need to see things, because the way we see the world, see the challenges, changes the way we respond to everything.
So for me, back on your green lens, the what really I felt a huge shift is when you said this person has their own answers. And I
Yes.
think that in my particular example and experience I was bringing forth as a mother, when they're growing up, you feel like they don't have all the answers, right? So just that reminder of, oh, these are grown adults and they have their own answers. It was like a weightlifting almost of like, oh, that's right. They're not little kids anymore. So that was, it was powerful. It was powerful.
And as a mother, it doesn't matter when they're 40 or 30 or whatever, they're still our children.
Yeah.
We see them as that. But we just have to remember that we did a really good thing. We loved them.
Yeah.
And they have that love in them. And they have their own answers, because this is their soul. This is their journey now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And my kids have kids. So, I have grandchildren. So, it's, yeah.
It just
So,
continues, right?
right. It continues. And how is that contributing to me? It really is, to know that they're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's happening with them, they know how to take care of themselves. They really do.
Yeah.
So,
well,
and so they deserve to be treated with that respect and dignity. They need to not hear their mother, or in my case, me or you or whoever the mother or father is, second and third guessing them, because they know what they're doing.
Right.
They don't need to have that doubting Thomas.
No, they really don't. And if
they don't need it,
they'll say, Mom,
well, exactly. Don't they? Yeah, Mom, of course, of course.
Yeah.
So
you're dynamic.
Yeah, it changes everything. And what it does is it calms our monkey mind,
Right.
our brain. It pulls it back, just like I have to do it with my dog, and focuses on seeing it right, not setting it right.
I like it.
And then I can continue on with what is mine to do. And enjoy making my next dinners, or thinking, what else, what do I want to create today? Do I want to create another song today? I think I will. I have time to play my guitar.
What do I want to create today? That's a great way of starting today.
Right. What do I want to create today? Because we are creative beings, and we stifle ourselves when we don't play, because that's what it is. We have this idea as adults that we're supposed to, it's not worthy unless we're creating a Michelangelo thing. Well, guess what? We play as children. We need to play now. Play is just creating. Just create in whatever way that brings you joy at this moment, in this breath, in this time.
Thank you.
So I'm very, very grateful for these tools and for the various other tools that I use through this coaching program, because again, it always brings us back to, how am I contributing to my life? How am I showing up? As a beneficial presence of the planet, or am I needing to be saved all the time?
Thank you for sharing that. That was really a great little exercise for everyone to take themselves through anytime, they may be losing sight of where they are right now. If you want to stop sharing this, the button's at the top of the screen.
Stop share. Thank you.
There we go. Now we're back.
There we go. I need more practice on this still, but
yeah,
but I'm doing okay.
You're doing fantastic. What are you talking about? We're doing fantastic. So thank you so much for everything you shared today. We really appreciate your time and insights. And for anyone listening, if you want to connect with Reverend Janice, she's at the Unity of Fort Pierce, which is located at 3414 Sunrise Boulevard in Fort Pierce. Their phone number is 772-461-2272. She's also available for life coaching and spiritual counseling.
Through Zoom, absolutely. Absolutely.
So again, thanks a bunch. And everyone, be well, stay connected.